Hello again, welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is BGFH, and I'm back for another hardware review for you today. And this is a device that I thought about doing something with on the channel, but I just never really got around to doing it. And definitely wanted to try out my better camera for actually shooting video on the old iPhone 6 Plus here. So here is the first thing that we're going to try to do. And what I want to show you guys today is the PlayStation Vita, or PS Vita. And this is a machine that Sony has had out for a little while now. Actually, a couple of years now at least. 2-3 years maybe. I forgot even when exactly it came out. I didn't pick up the machine right away. I actually got it about a year ago. During a Black Friday deal. I got this unit here with the Walking Dead bundle, and basically it was a pack-in for free, and I think it came with a memory card and stuff like that, so not a bad deal. I think you can find them typically online. You can find some bundles for around or under $200, depends on where you look for them, but the Vita is a real interesting machine. There are some things that I really like about it. There are some things that I kind of don't like about it as much, and just where is it as a gaming machine? That's probably the most interesting part of this device. So here we have it here. This is the first generation Vita. Recently they did release a slim version of it, which basically they changed the screen in it a little bit. This model that I have here has an OLED or OLED screen, which is super nice. Let me just turn it on here real quick. I don't know how well that's going to pick up on camera, but once I go into the interface a little bit, you'll be able to see it more. But yeah, this thing looks really nice. It's not, I don't think it's really even a full 1080p or really even close to that as far as resolution goes, but this thing looks sharp. I haven't really seen too many OLED devices, and I would be curious to see more because, like I said, resolution aside, this thing pops. I mean, this thing is just really nice looking. The slim model it gives up that, and they put a regular LCD screen in there, which is still pretty good from what I've heard, but not as good as this OLED screen. The main advantage that you get with the Slim is that the battery life on this one, on the original PlayStation Vita, is a little weak at best. It really varies how many hours you get, depending on if you're using the Wi-Fi, if you're using the network, which I'll get into a little bit as well, if you how you have certain settings, or if you're watching a movie versus playing a game. But you can get a good few hours out of it, but the Slim is actually supposed to have even more. So a little tour of the device. The front stuff is pretty self-explanatory, but the thing that makes the Vita really interesting is the hardware itself. I mean, this thing, it's a 5-inch screen, which is a touchscreen, by the way. And basically, I think when Sony came out with this thing, they're like, what possibly can we throw into this device? What type of technology can we possibly throw in there? Let's cram it all in there. And that's kind of what they did. So, typical PlayStation fashion, you've got a really nice D-pad over here. I quite like it. You've got your analog, little kind of analog stick. On the other side, you also have the other right analog stick. You have your 4 traditional buttons, your X, your circle, square, triangle, that kind of typical layout. Got your start and select buttons down here. You got your home button, or your PlayStation button, basically down there, which is kind of like I said, I call it a home button because that's essentially what it does. It takes you back out to their main interface. Now, the analog sticks, they do not click in. You can move them around, but you can't click them like you could a PS3, PS4, or even, you know, like an Xbox 360 controller. On the top, you've got your L button here, your R button, so your L and R buttons over there. Now, this does support, you can buy PlayStation Vita games on little cartridges that are basically like SD cards. And there's this little door right here that you kind of just pop open with your fingernail, shove it in there. I have not actually done that yet because everything I've done on this system so far has been digital. But you got your little power wake up button over there right next to your L button. And then you have your 2 volume buttons over here. So that's your top of the device. The bottom, you have your power adapter there. Kind of a long, funny, proprietary looking adapter. You just plug that in and juice it up there. Got your regular headphone jack. And then you have my major complaint, my real main complaint about this system. Sony, in their traditional wisdom, has gone ahead and again decided that they want to make their own proprietary storage format. Sometimes it pays off, and sometimes it's just a real huge kind of pain in the ass. And this would be the latter. You know, everybody, the HD DVD versus Blu-ray thing, Sony won out on that one, and Blu-ray is pretty much the standard right now. But they have used, and I'm not going to pop it out of there. There's a little door, but I'm not going to pop it out of there. But in order to use this device, you really have to have a one of their proprietary storage cards. And they're about the size of a micro SD card that you would stick into your phone or a tablet, a camera, whatever. They're about that size, but they're proprietary. Just like how Sony's used to do with their memory sticks for cameras and all that stuff. You know, I mean, I get the proprietary cartridges. Nintendo does that. That's fine. I mean, they look like regular kind of SD or SDHC cards. I get that. That's okay, fine. But the storage card, especially with the size that they are, they're pretty much like a micro SD card, like I said. And so it really baffles me why they couldn't just use that. I mean, you can get a micro SD card for, you know, a 32 or a 64 for well under $100, probably well under $50 by this point. The main complaint that I have, and everybody has, about the storage medium for this thing is that these memory cards are really expensive. If you go buy a 32 gig card, you're looking at about $100. You might be able to find them cheaper on some sales or certain websites, but generally speaking, they are $100, which is really laughable. I kind of complained about the same thing back in the day when I wanted to upgrade my Xbox 360 hard drive, because even them, they had their own little hard drive storage caddy thing that, oh yeah, we're going to charge you like $200 for a like a 120 gig hard drive at the time, which, you know, even then was just laughable. But especially with all the way all this technology is going, it's just, there's no need for this proprietary technology. I understand that Sony wants to make a few extra bucks with their own little storage mediums or whatever that they cook up, whatever, but you have to at least attempt to be comparable to other storage mediums. I mean, there's like a little bit higher, make a couple bucks, and then there's just ridiculous. And I think that those memory cards just cost too much. So enough about that. If I flip this thing over, the interesting thing is, okay, you've got a little camera up here, but I wouldn't recommend using it. I think I only just briefly looked at it once and really didn't care. It's not that good. The camera app is not that good. If you have a smartphone, which pretty much most everybody does these days, that's going to do a far better job than this ever would. So, yeah, take it or leave it, whatever. There are a few things that can use it for, like augmented reality, that kind of thing, but anyway. The real unique thing is this guy right here. It might be a little hard to see because it all just really blends in, but basically this whole smooth panel back here is actually a touch sensitive panel. It's not a screen, but it's actually a touch panel. So there are games that kind of make use of it where you're touching, you know, it's kind of like, you know, it directly corresponds to where the screen is on the front. And so let's say you see something in the environment and you might be able to kind of manipulate it, like, you know, push it forward in some games, you know, like a 2D platformer, let's say. Maybe you're pushing a platform from the background into the foreground so you can actually step on it, but you're touching the back panel. Not a whole lot of games use it. I've seen a couple that are kind of neat that do, but kind of a gimmick, but kind of cool if they would use it more and use it well. And these little parts here, these are just kind of little grippy areas. Rest your hands here. I know some people complain, and I can kind of see why it's sort of an issue for me. When you're holding the device, it's kind of hard. Like, you may accidentally rest your hands on this touch screen, or I keep saying touch screen, but touch panel on the back, because your hands just naturally land there. So enough about the hardware. That's kind of a tour of the device itself. I'm going to show you a little bit of the hardware. Now, like I said, this is a touch screen. You notice we got this little kind of peel paper thingy over in the corner here. Kind of a unique interface to this thing. So I'll grab it and just peel it back. And here we have the main PlayStation Vita interface. Kind of weird. I mean, I get what they're going for. You know, you've got a whole bunch of little icons to represent your games. They're little circles, kind of like your Android or iOS home screen things. I've got several pages of them. I just swipe up and down to go through that kind of thing. It looks interesting, but I think they could have maybe made it a little bit, you know, if they were spaced them out more evenly or something, I think they could make better use of the screen. And as a low vision user, like I said, I don't know how well you can pick up on this on the camera, but this blue background, I mean, just everything on the screen, it really pops and it looks fantastic, especially when you're playing a game. But on the interface itself, let me get close here. Depending on what you're looking at, some of that text, like, I think that a lot of the text itself can be a little hard to see, and I do have trouble with that. So I kind of look at the icons more so to really understand what the heck it is, what all these icons are. You know, you have some regular, you know, your PlayStation Store up here. You've got your trophies. You've got kind of some of the stuff that the PlayStation Network stuff is known for. You've got your web browser, which if you're in a pinch, you can use, but I haven't even bothered because, like I said, I have my smartphone. It's very, well, it's very rare, if pretty much never, that I would use this, because obviously there's no screen reader or real... I can pinch to zoom, I guess, for magnification, but, you know, this doesn't have built-in assistive technology. This doesn't have speech or magnification or anything like that, so, you know, this is just a regular consumer device, so you're not going to get any of that here. But some of the stuff isn't too bad. So let's go here. A whole bunch more apps. Got your camera, your music, your settings, all that kind of stuff. One thing I forgot to mention about the hardware, and I briefly alluded to earlier in the video, was that there are two different models of the PlayStation Vita. There's a Wi-Fi only version, and then there's a GSM network version where you can put a SIM card in and use it on the AT&T only 3G network. Because I got the bundle, and it doesn't mean I have to use it, but oops, there we go. But it does have the actual cellular connectivity here in this model that I have. I'm not going to use it. I turn it off. A, because I don't have anything GSM and I just don't need to pay for that. And B, everything I've heard, it's just, their 3G is just not very fast. You can't even play multiplayer games with it. With that kind of network, it's mainly just for downloading and messaging, that kind of thing. So, really, I don't see a point to it. So we keep going down. Let's see, we got here, you can get, like your Netflix, your YouTube apps. I got some games here. More games down here. I got some games and demos, so quite a few good games there. I got some, let's see, what do I got? I got like Wipeout and The Walking Dead. Let's see, Sonic Racing, Uncharted, and now the other thing with this is, the other reason I really considered even getting a Vita is the hardware was really interesting. There were a number of games that I was kind of curious that I wanted to play, and I just, just curious about the hardware. But I also, have a PS3, and if you have one, or especially if you have more than one Sony system, it would really be worthwhile to invest in Sony's PlayStation Plus program, because you pay, I think you can get it like, they have different monthly plans, and I just pay for it a year up front. And with that, you get a lot of stuff. You get a lot of discounts. You get, every month they rotate in free games. So you typically might get 2 PS3 games, 2 PS4 games, 2 Vita games. So most of the games that I've paid, or that I've downloaded onto this system, I haven't paid for. Walking Dead came with it. Sonic I got free. Uncharted came with it. Wipeout, I think that one I paid for. Let's see, the Retro City Rampage, I didn't pay for that. That was a PlayStation Plus. I think I paid for maybe a couple games here, but a lot of these I really haven't had to pay for. As long as you remain a PlayStation Plus subscriber, you can have access to these games, and they just keep adding more all the time, and a lot of times they actually add pretty good games, so not too shabby there. As far as the interface goes, I can also, in the right hand corner, tap my little thing in the corner there, and then this gives me kind of my notifications thing. So it'll tell me if some of my saves have synced to the cloud, give me some progress on some downloads, updates, anything like that, any social stuff I decide to do, whatever. All that stuff goes in here. Now again, if you're low vision, this, while crisp, it is still kind of small. So sometimes I actually do find myself, just to kind of read some of this stuff, I will use my phone or a CCTV just to kind of help navigate through and read some of the interface stuff. Once I'm in a game, I'm pretty much, usually the games I would play I'm typically okay. So that is kind of the notifications area. Now if I hit the home button again, kind of brings almost, again, like your Android, your iOS, your task switcher sort of thing. This shows me any of my recent applications that I have been in, any games that I've played, maybe some apps like Netflix or YouTube or something like that, and I can just tap on one of those and go. Or if I go back to the home screen here, if I slide to the right, notice here I've got my, now this is what happens when I tap one of these icons. Before it actually goes into the app or into the game, it brings me to this little screen here, and if I tap this middle little rectangle here, boom, I'll go back into my game, or start the game if I start it fresh. We've got Dive Kick here. Yes, I bought Dive Kick for the PlayStation Vita because it's an excellent little portable game. If you haven't watched that, check out my Low Vision Spotlight for the PC version of it. Really funny and very easy to learn game. It only uses 2 buttons, but still really fun. Got another game there. Got my YouTube app. Videos look really good on here, although, like I said, I usually go to my phone more. I primarily use this as a gaming device. So if I tap YouTube, oh, okay, it wants me to, okay. So I just brought up, I did a search earlier just so I had something to play for you guys, and I just did a search for the KNFB reader. Lo and behold, what video is number 2 but my own? Oh. You gonna... Okay. It was playing earlier. I don't know why it's not playing right now. I apologize for that, you guys, but you know, you got the kind of classic interface. If I go in the lower right of the thing, I can full screen it there. Videos do look really good, though. I have used it for that some. So if I want to close and just basically kill the task and not leave it running in the background, again, just like how I unlocked the device itself, just go. Really kind of cool effect. I mean, it even looks kind of like paper. Got the 3-dimensional kind of... I like that. Shunk. Gone. Flick to the left. Back to my home screen. And there we go. I'm going to open a game that I just checked out. Sony had finally just added. And it's an odd one. Vib Ribbon. This is a game that was originally a PlayStation 1 original PlayStation game. Now, remember, with the PlayStation Vita, you have access to the PlayStation Vita library, both via the cartridges and download. You have access to a lot of the PlayStation Portable, or the PSP library, via download. And there are also quite a few PlayStation Classics, I think they're called. And these are original PlayStation games that you can play on your system. So this is one of those games, and this is Vib Ribbon. It's this weird game I've always wanted to try, but never really had a chance. It never came out in North America for the original version, and literally Sony announced it, I think, Sunday or maybe Monday morning, and it was out on Tuesday. So if I go into this, I do want to show you this really quick. Now, we're playing the PlayStation. It's not full screen because it's not going to be the full widescreen. There's our PlayStation good old boot up sequence there. Now, if I'll let something come up on the screen here. Come on. And this is a really simple looking game, but if I hold down the PlayStation or the home button, I can customize a lot of what I can do here. So I could go into this game settings. I could tell it that I wanted it to do full screen, that I wanted it to do original. There are a whole bunch of little different options that I can fiddle with here. I'm not going to play with any of them right now, but I just wanted to point out that, you know, if there's something that doesn't look right, or you think there's something that you want to change, holding the home button down in the game will bring up this sort of interface and let you kind of putz around with that. So that's a nice touch. I like that. Hit the home button again, we're back to our game. Hit the home button again, we're back to our card. So if this was the most recent thing that I ran, and then I went over here, did something, I could just swipe right back, pick up right where I left off, kind of an instant resume sort of deal. So, I mean, that's overall the interface. There's not a whole lot more to it than that, I mean, I could go, assuming my internet connection is behaving, I could go to the PlayStation Store, just to show you guys that real quick. And again, as a low vision user, some of that print is really kind of hard to see, so I do find myself on occasion using a CCTV to try to read some of this stuff. But like I said, once you get it set up and you know where your games are and stuff like that, playing the games largely isn't a problem for me. I'm never gonna play like a text-heavy RPG or anything like that. But you know, a lot of the portable games, a lot of the mini games, fighters, action games, a lot of those are fine. So, you know, you got all your categories and you can search up in there. Oh, I do want to show you one thing that I love as a low vision user. Now, I brought up the search. Here is our touch screen keyboard. Now, these are kind of small, right? But here's what I really love about this keyboard. Check this out. So if I hold my finger down on the keys and I slide, it doesn't actually do anything until I let go. It's almost like a low vision version of touch typing on iOS. So let's say I want to look for Castlevania. There's C. This is really hard to do left-handed. But I can just slide it all the way around, and it balloons it up in that nice little thing above my finger. It zooms in and kind of shows you that letter. So that I thought was really impressive, even when I went through the setup process and logged in with my PlayStation Network ID. You know, the keys themselves aren't that small. They're okay. But just having that little extra, you know, even just like I said, boom, just touch it. Look at how much bigger that is. That's a fantastic touch. You know, and the fact that I don't have to just hit it and let go, I can drag it, and then when I lift it up, boom, we got it. I love that. That's just a really nice touch that, frankly, I wish everybody would use now that I've seen it. So, glad I remembered to show you guys that. Let's, okay, head back to our home screen here. I suppose I could show you, you know, you do want to see something played. I'm holding the phone with one hand, and so anything that requires two hands is going to be virtually impossible. However, I do have the free version of course. I've used this to demo on other devices myself before. Good old Jetpack Joyride. Every platform should have this game. Just a quick little 5-10 minute fallback game. Really easy to play. I can just do it by touching one finger on the screen. Come on. I'm gonna suck at this so bad. Here we go. Boom. Let's zoom out here so I can actually see. And again, like I said, I don't know how, I have no idea how this is going to show up on camera, but just believe me when I say the screen on this thing is just really, really good. One of the best, if not the best, portable screen I've ever seen on a portable handheld. So, oh, this is hard. Oh, okay, sweet, I got a token. This is really hard to play with one hand and hold the phone steady and talk at the same time. Yay, I'm multi-talented, yet I died. Fantastic. Anywho, here's my finger, there we go. Ah. Yay, objective. Alright then, more objectives, yada yada. And you get the drill. I've demoed this game, I think, a couple of different times on a couple of different videos and platforms so far. So, yeah, Jetpack Joyride, you see how it plays. You know, again, if I want to close it, just go hit the home button, go, shink, whoops. I like that look. That's just a really kind of cool, I do like that. So, To kind of wrap things up here, I've shown you the device, I've shown you a little bit about what it does. A couple things that I haven't mentioned, if you have a PlayStation 3 or especially a PlayStation 4, it does support remote play. Now, even though I do have a PS3, I've never used remote play. Basically what it allows you to do is that you connect a wireless partnership with your console, and you can kind of stream the video and audio of the games to your portable device. So let's say that you have somebody that wants to watch the TV, but you want to play your game, you could theoretically set it up and then stream to your portable device. Now, a couple reasons I don't do that, just from what I've read from other people, they said it's iffy. I mean, it kind of works, but it's a little laggy, especially with the PS3. It might work a little bit better with the PS4. But, you know, you do lose some quality in the video and just even some of the reaction. You know, there might be a little bit of lag, and depending on how much interference there is in your home network, that kind of thing. But for me, the other thing is that if I'm going to play a nice, really good console game, I typically want to play that on my big TV. I don't have to fight with anyone in the household for, you know, for TV time. So if I'm going to play a portable game, I'll play my portable. If I'm going to play my PS3, I'll just play that on the big TV. So I really don't have the need for it, so I really don't care a whole heck of a lot about it. I mean, I'm glad it's there for people who want it, and maybe one of these days I will check it out if I have the urge to do so, but for now, whatever. But it is something well worth noting. So to wrap things up, I want to talk a little bit about the games and what people actually use the system for, because here's the thing about the PlayStation Vita, is that it's a very capable piece of hardware. Like I said, they crammed everything they could at the time into this thing. You got your touchscreen, your back touch panel, your dual analog sticks for those types of games. You have your D-pad, your typical PlayStation cross buttons over there on the right. You have all of that stuff. Wireless, Bluetooth. I have tried it with a Bluetooth headset, by the way. Works fine. Just the really beautiful screen. They threw everything they could into this, but especially when it first came out, it was really expensive, and it's still, you know, not really cheap. The problem that the Vita really has is that there really wasn't a whole lot of support behind it. I mean, when you think portable gaming systems, you think Game Boy, you think DS, 3DS. Nintendo has just dominated that field forever, and aside from smartphone and tablet gaming, it's still really not any different. I mean, the people who have a Vita or a PSP or whatever it happens to be, they're good systems, they like it, but you know, it's not going to nearly make a dent in Nintendo's domination, at least right now. There really wasn't a whole lot of third-party support or even first-party support. I mean, occasionally you'll hear about a new release, and there's been some really pretty solid games. They're original games for it. And then, like I said, you can dig back into your PlayStation 1 classics. You can dig into your PSP games. I've never owned a PSP, so I still do kind of want to go back and look through some of those, and I vaguely remember a couple of games there that I missed that I might want to check out at some point, so you have that going for it. So despite the lack of real steady first or third-party support, what you do have, especially in recent months, is that you do have a lot more developers starting to use this as a way to put a lot of portable indie games that you can find on a console or PC or both onto a portable platform. So, you know, people are putting the same games onto a computer, a console, or iOS or Android. The problem you have with iOS and Android is, yeah, they're great. They look, you know, they look good. They are powerful enough, but you don't have the controls. Everything is touchscreen unless you buy a third-party controller and carry that with you and pair it, and then, you know, you're going to have to hold it, and it's just, if you're in a portable setting, it's not easy to whip out and play. You know, some of those same types of games I have, except for, you know, modern systems that have essentially L1, R1, L2, R2, the triggers, those kind of things. Except for having multiple triggers, you have all the buttons you need. So I can way more easily play traditional games, whether they're driving games, first-person shooters, action games, platformers. I have a D-pad, fighting games, whatever. I have that luxury. So a lot of games that, even a lot of the ones that I've covered on the channel, Dive Kick, what the heck was it called? Rogue Legacy. I was really addicted to that, and I haven't bought it for the PS Vita yet, but the thought sort of crossed my mind. Those types of games are coming to the Vita on a fairly regular basis, and along with the occasional really kind of interesting Vita game itself, there's a lot of multi-platform games that that you can play if you want to have them in portable form. I mean, look at even here. I have some of my favorite games here. I've got a good Sonic racing game, which is actually surprisingly good. I haven't covered that on the channel. I've got an Uncharted here. I've got a Wipeout, which is a really sweet racing game that I'm terrible at. I've got Jetpack Joyride, a quick little mobile game. Castlevania Symphony of the Night, which is one of the best games ever made, in my opinion. Certainly one of the best Castlevanias ever made. A lot of interesting stuff here. So, you know, maybe not quite the back catalog that Nintendo has for their systems, but not bad either. And like I said, the thing is pretty powerful, so you have that going for it too. Pretty solid stuff. One other thing that I want to mention about the games themselves is that also with games like Rogue Legacy, Sony has started doing a really interesting thing that I wish more companies would follow suit, is they have cross-buy and cross-play games. What that means is that I can buy, typically you usually have to watch this because you have to buy it on the console and then you get the Vita version for free. It doesn't necessarily work the other way around, so you want to watch that a little bit. But you have these cross-buy games, so if I buy the PlayStation 3 version or the PS4 version, I can get the Vita version for free. And it may be the same game, it may be a different game, but they'll just bundle them both together and let you have, hey, the whole package for free. Then they have cross-play games like Rogue Legacy, where, you know, you're saving your save states to the cloud, and I can play my game on the Vita when I'm out and about. And then if I want to kick back on my couch or whatever and just play it on my PlayStation, I can sync my data right up to the cloud, load it up on my PlayStation 3, and boom, continue right where I left off. You know, any upgrades that I've bought, that kind of stuff. So that's a really, really good way to do integration, and something that other companies, Nintendo, anyone, might really want to look at. Really should consider. So, is this system worth it? To the right person, yes. I mean, it's certainly a capable device. It is very well built. I mean, this thing is kind of a beast. It's a little bit heavy, but for all the stuff that's in there, you know, if you want to get the slim, you get a little more battery life. Maybe not quite as good a screen, but there you go. You want a little bit lighter and maybe a different color system, you can get the slim, but you can go that way. But yeah, I mean, there are enough games for it if you like those kinds of games. If you have a PlayStation 3, if you have a PlayStation 4, if you have PlayStation Plus, those are things that may make the Vita well worth considering. If you don't, or you don't really play portable games much, then no, it might not be worth it for you. But it is a really unique system, and I'm kind of glad I picked it up. I've bought I bought a couple games, I've downloaded some free games, got a couple demos, and I've liked what I've used so far. My only real main complaint are those stupid memory cards. They really, I mean, it's too late to change them now, so I don't mind if you use them, Sony, but please drop the prices on them. Please, you really got to do that. Otherwise, no real complaints. You know, you could probably complain a little bit about the camera, but like I said, everybody has a smartphone anyway, pretty much these days, so you don't really care. It's just another thing to add in there, just to say you have it. The AT&T stuff, meh, don't really care myself. So, I mean, you can't use it to play games anyway, so who really cares? Battery life could be better, but otherwise, I'm fine with it. The only other complaint that I would sort of have, and it's really not, I mean, I really can't complain too loudly about it. I really can't say much, but as a low vision user, the interface itself, you know, if I tap up here again, these notifications, the PlayStation Store, some of the text in the settings and the icons, things like that, the text is a bit small. I mean, a normal Vita user is not going to care. They're going to be fine with it. But if you are low vision, and until you get things, you know, set up, you download a few games, you're going to probably have a little bit of an issue reading some of the on-screen text. Like I said, I've been known to use my phone on occasion. I've been known to use the CCTV on occasion to get things set up, search for something in the store. But once I get the games going and I just go into a game, typically the games that I play, I'm fine. So yeah, that is the PlayStation Vita hardware review and kind of a quick demo tour-esque kind of thing. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope this video came out clear enough on my nice new iPhone 6 Plus. Nice little test run here. So until next time, you know, like I said, please guys, like the videos, subscribe to the channel. I'm glad to see more subscribers, more likes, and more views and stuff like that. So until next time, I will talk to you guys again later.